How's it going, my friends? We are back with another video. 2 videos, 2 days in a row, back to back. How do you guys like that? I'm fired up. What else can I say? Today's going to be a controversial topic time, and the exact reason why I probably will never be sponsored by Nikon, although I am a diehard supporter of their brand and their cameras. I use nothing else but Nikon, and it's not because I hate other brands, it's just because I freaking love Nikon. But videos like these are the reasons why YouTube channels like mine don't get brand sponsorships. We rely on our communities because I'm dogging products. Okay. I'm trying to save you guys money. And I'm talking about what really matters in photography, which is the art, the creativity going behind. I always say the most important element in photography is the 12 inches behind the viewfinder, which is your head, which is you. And all these channels, I just get so irritated because I see the same reviews of the same lenses talking about the same topics, and nobody ever talks about, does this actually make sense? Do people need to spend the money on these huge wide aperture freaking new age lenses that cost an arm and a leg? And so I guess we can jump right into it. So I want to say, first of all, that I did make a video a couple years ago about the 50 1.2 lens, and it is a great lens. Okay. These new 1.2 line of lenses, I'm not going to lie and pretend that they're not great lenses. But the whole point of this video is it really going to help your photography? Yes or no? Because that's really what matters. Okay. It really does. The gear, I've talked about this a billion times. I'm beating a dead horse here, but we're talking about, this channel is about the art of photography, composition, lighting, theory, philosophy. What actually is creativity? Those things are what's going to transform you into just a hobbyist or a decent photographer to a real artist. That's what I'm interested in. Now, this kind of got sparked because I was on Reddit actually, which I'm not on a lot, but I did see a wedding photography post in the wedding photography Reddit thread, and the person was asking, what lens can I get to make my photography unique? I'm looking for something that doesn't look run of the mill, and I want a lens that's going to help me create a different style. And I was like, man, like, this is such a good topic for a video, especially with what's been going around with the new, 35Z 1.2 lens and all these new 1.2 lenses that are coming out. And, people just jumping into thinking like, oh shit, that's the thing that's going to make me different, or that's the thing that's going to, put that spice on my photography that's going to really set it apart. Guys, you don't need 1.2 lenses. Okay, there I said it. Unless it's a specific element, a specific spice, you're using it for a specific purpose, you do not need a 1.2 lens. Let me talk about bokeh, okay, or out of focus backgrounds. People think you need these 1.2 lenses in order to create that like dreamy type of effect. What you guys have to understand, and what you will understand as you go throughout your journey, you start to get really not even comfortable, but you actually start to know your tools like a practitioner, you're going to start to realize that the out of focus effect in the background has to do mostly, okay? Aperture definitely does come into it, but mostly what it is distance from your subject and the focal length that you're using. Those are more important than the actual aperture, okay? Now, 1.2, yes, if you're using, say you go out and you buy this new 35Z 1.2 lens, which costs $2,800. Okay, that's a huge, huge amount of money. So say you go buy that, right? That isn't automatically going to make your photos, every single one, like this dreamy, like, dreamscape images that are going to have like this automatic wow factor. If you buy that lens thinking that you're going to get that, you're going to be instantly disappointed. And if you look at a lot of like, people using it in the images that they produce, most of the images that are coming out of these new 1.2 lenses, you can get with a 1.8 lens or even a 2.8. It just depends on your composition, how far you are from your subject, the light, and the whole shebang, all the ingredients of the photo. Just because it's a 1.2 and you can open it up to have like, I want to say the first thing that came to my mind was razor sharp depth of field, but really what the whole point of the 1.2 is in the strength of it is to let in more light when it's, lower light. But if you think you're going to slap it on your body and you're going to all of the sudden start to create images that are like, dreamy and they have their own certain style to it, you're going to be super disappointed. You're going to realize you wasted $2,800. You could have gone on eBay and bought a 35 1.8 and practiced with that and figured out how the focal length, the dynamics of that focal length work, and how to create interesting images through composition and lighting and expression. You know what I mean? And looking for interesting angles and things like that, because ultimately that's the thing that's going to set your photography apart. Now, let's talk about the light gathering abilities of a 1.2. Yes, of course, you can get more light onto the sensor with the 1.2, but with modern cameras, with the ISO capabilities, it's not even like it was 10 years ago where you really had to have these wider apertures in order to get clean images. I said this in my last video. We use an AI denoising tool and it's freaking amazing. I mean, it really is. You can shoot at ISOs upwards of 10,000. Your raw photo is going to be grainy as hell, but you run it through these processors and it removes the grain. And that works to a certain point. Obviously, like if you're pushing, 256,000 ISO, it's not even the grain at that point. It's really your colors are falling apart. But the whole point is unless you, so this is the way I feel. I'm a bit of a photography purist in the form of if there's a low lighting situation at a wedding or at a reception, candlelit, something like that, you need to add light. If you can't do it with a 2.8 lens, you need to start adding light, okay? If you have a 2.8 lens and you're finding that you need to go above 10,000 ISO, even 8,000 around there, you need to start thinking about bringing out speed lights or continuous lights, whatever you use, in order to add light to that scenario. Don't ever label yourself as a natural light photographer. Just do not do it, because what that really says is I just don't know how to add my own light when the situation calls for it. A 2.8 lens, these days, guys, I've done many videos on like different lens focal length combinations that I used to use all throughout my photography career. Started with the 35 to 85, then I moved on to 28 and 58, then I used a 24 and a 50, all these different combinations. Now I've simplified it the last 2 years. I've really just been using a 24 to 70 2.8 lens, and my photography has never been better, honestly, because the 2.8 is fine for 70% of the wedding. The last 30%, I'm assessing what's in front of me and bringing in light as needed. And then you're able to control the situation as you should. That people are paying you thousands of dollars to be a professional wedding photographer or whatever professional photographer you're doing, or whatever kind of photography you're doing. People are paying you. That means that they're expecting that you understand what the lighting situation is and when you have to add your own. And I cannot stress that enough, guys. Do not go out there and spend thousands of dollars on new 1.2 lenses, thinking that it's going to transform. It's going to give you something creamy and bokeh and all these crazy backgrounds or something like that. And it's going to make your photography look different, when really what you should be focused on, and what I'm going to continue to talk about in this channel, is the philosophy, the way your mind should be creating images in your head, harnessing your own creative ability, and then technique, lighting, composition, angles, things like that. That is what is going to separate you and send you to the next level. If you want to spend $2,800 to go, try and be a better photographer that you're going to allocate towards a lens, here's a better idea. Take the $2,800, leave it in your bank account, spend $50, go buy a ticket to your local fine art museum, go buy an espresso, and go walk through the museum. Okay, spend a couple hours doing that. Start to walk through the nice areas of your neighborhood and look at the beautiful architecture. Start to, just handle quality materials in your hands. Increase your taste. What looks nice? Getting a sense of high-end art and well-made products. Absorb those things, because that is going to absorb into your personality, and then it's going to come out into your work and all the stuff. I mean, and I'm not trying to, toot my own horn or whatever, but like, I could take any lens, no matter what it was, you know, as long as it fits on a mirrorless camera body, and create amazing images with it, because I understand light, I understand composition, angles, and I know how to work with people. If you're, you know, if you're just going to give me a 1.2 lens, it's not going to really look any different than what I'm already doing with a 2.8. And so if you go on, you look at all these reviews of the latest 1.2 lenses, they're all going to be talking about the exact same thing: the chromatic aberration, the, you know, the sharpness of it, you know, saying that it's gives you something special, or it's something feel. That's just sales tactics, marketing. That's all that is. It's not real. What really matters is what's in here, and making sure that you're tuning and collecting information about what looks beautiful, what looks interesting, learning about light. Doing those things is what's actually going to set you apart. So 1.2 lenses, take that money, please put it in the bank, unless you know that there's a specific circumstance that you're going to need and you can afford a $2,800 lens. Also, these things are like this freaking big. They're like photo, like that 51.2. Like I said, it was a great lens for what it was, but my photography has definitely elevated since I've gone on to a composite, like a packaged multiple focal length. 2.8 is all I need. Because I'm in the moment now, I'm not searching for a different type of lens when I'm out there, and, you know, I'm not focusing on my gear. It's like, oh, I have 24 all the way to 70. I have all these focal lengths that I can get the composition that I see in my head. I can get that out into the world. I have it right here with me. And I know that if it gets too dark, I know how to operate my speed lights or my continuous lights, whatever I have for lighting. I know what the situation calls for, and I can bring it up. So start to think about it like that, guys. When you have your camera, make sure it's the most versatile. You can have as many options for the photo and getting that composition that you have in your head out into the world, but then also making sure that it's not a burden. It's not too big that, you know, you're carrying around a Canon, it's hurting your shoulder, you know, you're carrying it on a wedding or something, you're there for 8-10 hours and it's a freaking drag or something like that. I just don't want a lot of photographers, professional photographers, and up and coming amateurs watch my channel. I don't want you guys to spend money unnecessarily. When I recommend something, I want you to know that it really is truly going to make you a better photographer all around. So don't get caught in the hype, guys. Don't get sold on something that you don't need. And hope you guys enjoyed this. Till the next video, my friends.